During a typical day, pigs spend their time foraging for food or sleeping at one of several nesting sites within their home range. Pigs make these nests by arranging grass, twigs and other bedding materials. In the evening, the whole herd sleeps together on a communal nest near the centre of their home range. On a factory farm, pigs are unable to carry out any of these normal behaviours. In New Zealand, there are over 350,000 pigs on factory farms, almost all of which will be killed and eaten. They live in filthy, crammed conditions, unable to display any of their natural behaviours such as foraging, nesting, forming social bonds, and many are unable to even turn around. In June 2008, we took a tour of a North Island pig farm to see for ourselves what conditions pigs were being forced to live in.
First thing I saw when I entered the farm was a bucket of dead piglets. It was pretty shocking. And then I noticed the rows and rows of crates, massive pigs in them grinding their teeth in the cages.
They didn't have any room to move around. They couldn't even turn 360 degrees. They all just pretty much sat there squealing.
I'm anxious about the boars at the back of the sheds pulling the cage door up. I wanted to touch the female pigs and stroke them, but I wasn't really quite sure how they'd react to me, so I tried to keep at a distance. I felt quite upset that the pigs are going to spend the rest of their lives in there.
When I was there, like even looking at the pigs' faces, you can just tell that they're really miserable in those conditions. They look really, really miserable.
The aspect of the farm that stood out to me mostly would have been the smell and the heat of the sheds. Even though there were massive holes in the roofs and it was a very cold day, the heat was still almost too much to handle and the smell was completely awful.
Being on the farm, I felt really, really bad for the animals that were there, because you know that they're destined for slaughter and they spend their whole lives living in these conditions.
This is how the breeding males are kept on factory farms, confined in individual stalls or small pens. This intense confinement is highly stressful, as they would normally have a range of up to 100 hectares or more. This leads to the boars suffering from boredom and frustration. Female pigs that have not yet been bred from are known as gilts. Despite common perception, pigs are very clean animals. In group pens this is not possible, as there are generally about 4 to 5 gilts in an area of only a few square metres. This results in the pigs being covered in their own excrement. The high level of ammonia in the atmosphere also causes burns on their skin. These are sow stalls. Over half of the sows in New Zealand are placed in these stalls for either part or all of their 115-day pregnancy. Sow stalls measure 60 centimetres by 2 metres. With so little room, a sow is unable to turn around and she can only sit, stand or lie down. In the wild, her home range would usually be upwards of 100 hectares. Sows have strong instincts to root and forage. Confinement and barren living conditions mean that the sows cannot carry out these behaviours. Boredom and frustration causes repetitive behaviours such as bar chewing, sham chewing, head weaving and tongue rolling. Sows may also show behaviour indicative of learned helplessness and depression. This is apparent in sows who can be seen in the dog sitting position. As well as mental torment, sows suffer physically from confinement. Frustration can cause the sows to bite the ears of neighbouring pigs, leaving them with open wounds. The constant contact with the metal straw bars leaves many sows with cuts and scratches. Continuous kneeling on a concrete floor results in calluses forming on the sow's knees. Sows confined to these stalls often develop overgrown toenails, which result in lameness, foot injuries, leg and foot deformities. Sows have strong maternal instincts, and confinement to a sow stall makes it impossible for the expected mother to prepare for the birth of her litter. Before the birth, the mother sow would naturally prepare a special nest for her young. On a factory farm, sows cannot do this, and instead are moved to a new stall called a farrowing crate, where they give birth and attempt to care for the young.